That's a bad idea. That's a bad idea.
Thought I would win against Anthony, but here I am with a broken jaw, learning the hard way. I'll heal.
1 moment passed. The CASA Center in Miami was bursting with noise, excitement, and expectation. The very next moment, the entire arena became completely and strangely silent. Anthony Joshua's right hand connected perfectly in the 6th round. And believe me, it did far more than simply send Jake Paul to the canvas. It wiped the feeling out of the building. The energy disappeared instantly and was replaced by a heavy choking silence that no one saw coming.
6, 7, 8, 9.
His hand landed clean, and the cameras captured the exact second when reality hit everyone watching. This was not a slip or a mistake. This was not bad timing or unlucky chance. This was not something Jake could joke about later on YouTube or ignore with a smart tweet. Just minutes earlier, Jake Paul was moving around the ring full of confidence with relaxed shoulders, enjoying the spotlight as he always does. But only moments later the picture completely changed. Medics rushed in and surrounded him inside the ring. His jaw was broken badly. The fight ended before he was ready for it to end. And the story he had carefully built for years collapsed in front of millions of viewers. That sudden shock, that total change, is why this moment hit so hard for everyone. This was not just another loss that someone easily recovers from. It was the clear ending of a protected image that had been carefully maintained over a long time.
At the exact moment,
Paul did not reach this spot by chance or simple luck. His boxing path was planned carefully, step by step, with total control. Every opponent was chosen with a clear purpose in mind. Weight limits were handled smartly to keep an edge. He stayed away from true threats early on and instead picked names that brought huge attention and sales without bringing real risk into the ring. Older fighters passed their best. Smaller fighters who could not match his size. Or athletes from outside boxing who lacked real boxing skills. This plan worked extremely well for a long time. 12 wins, 7 knockouts, and the record looked strong on paper. Millions of fans started to believe he was a real boxer. Media outlets supported the story because it brought views. Influencers boosted every win because it made good content. Anyone who questioned it was quickly labeled as jealous or stuck in the past and unable to accept a new era.
Got hit with a bomb.
But here is the reality about that entire setup, and this point matters more than anything. It only works when every factor stays fully controlled. Jake always fought on his own terms, with his own rules and his own timing. Size played a massive role in who he faced. Weight advantages mattered in ways many people did not openly discuss. Experience gaps mattered far more than anyone wanted to admit. For a long time, all of this stayed hidden behind flashy highlights and loud confidence. The real danger was never one opponent on one night. The real threat was believing that the hype could work anywhere. That success built carefully inside controlled limits would somehow hold up against a full-sized elite heavyweight with nothing to prove. Anthony Joshua destroyed that belief for good. This was not a fun crossover or a novelty show for entertainment. Joshua showed up as what he has always been. A professional heavyweight with 26 knockouts and real lasting damage behind his punches. He did not need noise or talk to sell himself. From the early rounds, the difference between them was clear to anyone watching. Jake Paul was not boxing. He was trying to survive by holding Joshua, grabbing whenever possible, wrestling to slow things down, and doing everything he could to stop a fight he could not manage with skill. The speed gap, the timing advantage, and the raw power were overwhelming from the start. And truthfully, the finish was unavoidable from the moment they touched gloves.
Fighting is not something you pick up and mess around with, right? If you're a fighter, if you're a boxer, if you're a mixed martial artist, right, you have to take this seriously. And
Joshua remained calm and in control for the entire fight. He did not rush to force a fast ending. He did not hunt for a viral knockout to please social media. He stayed patient and waited for the right moment. In the 5th round, the warning signs became clear. Jake was dropped hard. Then he went down again and hit the canvas a second time. Each knockdown removed more of his confidence. You could see it fading from his expression. The 6th round was not flashy or dramatic when it happened. It felt unavoidable, like a sequence that could not be stopped. One clean right hand landed with perfect timing and placement. The CASA Center stood as a silent witness to a flawless display of skill.
There's the right hand! Jake Paul goes down again!
Jake stayed on the canvas and could not beat the count. The numbers told a harsh and undeniable story. It was the first knockout loss of his career, something he had avoided until that moment. It was also the second loss on his record. The record now shows 12 wins and 2 losses, and those numbers speak for themselves. At the same time, Anthony Joshua left the ring with his 29th victory and his 26th knockout, treating it like a normal night at work with nothing unusual about it. Jake, however, exited the arena with a broken jaw that demanded immediate medical care surgery that could not wait, days spent in the hospital and weeks ahead living on liquids. You can twist decisions in the media. You can argue scorecards and debate rounds. You can complain about points and judging. But you cannot twist broken bones. That damage is real and permanent, and it does not care how big your online following is.
It's gonna happen. And it almost... Oh, there's a left hook.
The fight did not truly end when the referee stopped it, and that is what many people keep missing. The bell did not protect Jake Paul from what followed. The count did not stop the real damage that had already been done. The real consequences arrived later, in the hours and days after the adrenaline faded and reality showed up with paperwork, x-rays, and doctors who do not care about Instagram followers or YouTube numbers. A broken jaw that needed surgery. Time spent in a hospital bed for monitoring. An operation to put the pieces back together. That is not something you laugh about in a casual post-fight vlog for fans. That is your body pushing back against your ego, and there is no appeal for that decision. Almost overnight, the entire mood shifted. The trash talk vanished from his social media. The posts slowed to nearly nothing. The same person who once shared every step of his career suddenly went silent. Because when your jaw is wired shut and you're drinking meals through a straw for weeks, confidence feels very different. This was not a simple black eye that fades or a sore rib you tape and ignore. This was a clear warning that when you face a real heavyweight with real power, the consequences continue long after the cameras shut off and the broadcast ends. Influencer confidence looks impressive on a stage under bright lights. It looks far less impressive in a hospital gown waiting for surgery.
Yeah. But let me tell you what, a lot of people watch that one.
Will you watch it?
Sure. You know what everybody's tuning in for on that one. Yeah, I think everybody's going to get what they...
Sharp difference is exactly why this moment hit the public so hard. Just hours earlier, Jake was walking with confidence, smiling at cameras and absorbing attention like he always does. Now he was surrounded by medical staff talking recovery timelines and surgical procedures. That is why this loss felt different from anything before. Fans can laugh at a decision loss and move on. They can joke about a knockdown and turn it into entertainment. But broken bones and surgery are not entertainment to anyone. That is accountability showing up with a cost. Boxing version of a receipt that cannot be argued away. While Jake was dealing with doctors and facing reality, Dana White was dealing with something else entirely. Being right and being proven right in the harshest way possible. Dana did not jump into this after the knockout. He warned about this fight long before gloves ever touched in the ring. He called it a bad idea again and again. He clearly said Jake was stepping into something he did not belong in and something far above his level. At the time, people brushed it off. They said Dana was bitter about influencer boxing. They said he hated crossover fights. They said he was afraid of Jake popularity threatening the old system.
Second, it happened in the 6th round, and it happened in a 22-foot ring. A typical ring is 20 foot. This one was 22 foot because he wanted a bigger room to operate.
Where everything starts to fall apart mentally for Jake Paul, because healing the body takes time, but repairing the mind is much harder. After the fight, Jake said he hurt Anthony Joshua at moments and claimed he won some rounds, which is natural because denial is part of being human. But his body language told a very different story to anyone paying attention. The slow walk out of the arena. The empty, distant stare. The way he spoke without his usual sharp confidence. You could hear the change in his voice. Something deep inside him shifted. This was his first knockout loss in his entire boxing path. A decision loss hurts pride and damages a record, but being knocked out changes how a fighter sees himself. It forces questions you cannot edit out or control. Jake was always skilled at reshaping the story, finding a new opponent and creating a fresh angle. But when you are stopped flat on your back and cannot continue, there is no alternate path. The mental difference between losing and being stopped is massive. A decision allows debate. A knockout ends the discussion completely. The ego does not just take a hit, it breaks apart. Suddenly the shortcuts no longer seem smart. Suddenly the danger feels real in your body. Suddenly the sport stops feeling like content and starts feeling like combat with consequences. That change did not affect only Jake. It spread through everyone around him. Logan Paul felt it as well. Before the fight, he was loud, confident, and riding the wave. After the knockout, that energy disappeared because the Paul brand has always been about control. Controlled chaos. Controlled stories. Controlled risk. For the first time they lost control fully and publicly. You cannot edit hospital scenes into success. You cannot turn a broken jaw into a win. You cannot protect anyone from physics and reality. That is when the spectacle becomes personal. That is the quiet aftermath nobody expected. It forced fans, promoters and fighters to ask a serious question. How far is too far in influencer boxing? This was not entertainment failing by accident. This was a heavyweight reality check. Once real consequences appear, they cannot be undone. Jake Paul did not only lose a fight. He lost the belief that the rules would always bend his way. Once that belief breaks, every step forward feels heavier. This fight quietly ended the idea of safe crossover boxing as a long-term plan. The unspoken rule was always clear to people inside the sport. Influencers stay near the edges where it is safe, not in deep water with sharks. Jake crossed that line on purpose, and Anthony Joshua made sure nobody forgot it. This was not hype versus hype. This was hype hitting a level it could never reach. Overnight promoters became cautious. Fighters hesitated. Fans stopped laughing. Real boxers do not need influencer money enough to risk becoming the next warning story. Jaw wired shut. Image questioned. Legacy damaged. One knockout sent a chill through the entire crossover combat sports world. For Jake, there are no easy exits left. The record is permanent now. First knockout loss. Second defeat overall. No rematch power. No moral victory. Fans are split between sympathy and "we warned you." Sponsors look closer. Opponents hesitate. Credibility now has a real cost. The final truth is simple. Boxing does not care about followers or online fame. Dana White did not defeat Jake Paul. Reality did. Anthony Joshua did not just win a fight. He enforced a boundary. This was not drama or controversy. This was gravity doing what it always does. Bringing everything back to earth.